Back on CBS Sports HQ with some breaking news. On Tuesday, Chargers edge rusher Joey Bosa was the last player to report to camp, making the testing window by mere minutes. Now we know why, because you got to pay to play. As confirmed by our Jason Lock-on-Fora, Bosa and the franchise putting pen to paper on a 5-year, $135 million extension with a record $102 million in guaranteed money. Let's take a look at where this leaves him in terms of other edge rushers across the league. How about number one for average annual value? Going to be $27 million per for Bosa, who has 40 sacks in his first 4 seasons in the NFL. The real winner here, Brian Irolt, the same agent who got Joe Burrow's $36 million deal done earlier this morning. Let's welcome in our guy, CBS Sports senior NFL writer Jonathan Jones and 2-time Super Bowl champ Bryant McFadden. Boys, reacting here to another big-time deal as another week passes. This time it's Joey Bosa putting pen to paper on a big-time deal here. $102 million in guarantees. That's a new record number. Jonathan, I'll start with you first here. Why this, why now?
Well, you pay the guy who gets to the quarterback. I mean, there are some premium positions in the NFL. Joey Bosa plays one of them, and he plays it incredibly well. You mentioned it earlier, at 40 sacks through just, I think, 51 games that he's been a part of. Of course, 2 seasons ago, he had that foot injury, so he didn't play the full season. But every season in which he has played a full season, he has double-digit sacks. The Chargers are in a position, of course, certainly with Justin Herbert on that rookie deal now and for the next several years, they're in a position to pay their top flight guys, and they're already going to be paying Joey Bosa as the former number 3 overall selection. So why not, with about the $20 to $22 million they had in cap space, go ahead and take care of him right now. Lower that cap number this season in case you need to bring some folks on. You know that he's going to be a part of your team for any number of years to come. So honestly, who really cares about the salary cap next season, because you had to pay him? Again, this is a guy from 2016. We're seeing guys getting paid from the 2017 draft, right? Christian McCaffrey and Patrick Mahomes, Myles Garrett, of course, the number 1 overall pick. And so now that we see Joey Bosa in a spot where, let's not forget, when he joined the Chargers, his mom had said something to the effect of, I wish we had pulled an Eli Manning. There was some contract disputes going on for several months in terms of what his signing bonus would be in his rookie season. And now 4 years later, what have you done for me lately? 40 sacks in those 50-plus games. Yeah, it's time to get paid, young man.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. Remember, the highest paid player on the Chargers a year ago is currently with the Indianapolis Colts and Phillip Rivers. You didn't pay Melvin Gordon, so the funds were clearly there for Bosa going into his 5th year. You know, I second everything Jonathan just hit on. When you talk about how consistent Joey Bosa has been, playing a premium position. We know how important the quarterback position is. We know how expensive that position is. But if you want to have success in the National Football League, you got to find guys that can harass those quarterbacks, those expensive quarterbacks. And Joey Bosa, when he's been healthy, Jonathan just talked about the double-digit years, sack years he's been able to put in. The one odd year, he only played in 7 ball games. So being able to have him locked up right now going into his 5th year makes nothing but perfect sense for me. I like the deal. He's the next man up mentality. We just saw Myles Garrett over a week ago get $25 million per year. We were like, wow, what a big time crazy deal, deserving deal for him. And now here comes Joey Bosa. I mean, we had a lot to talk about already with training camp just getting started, but now we have even more to talk about with Joey Bosa getting paid like a quarterback. Who would have thought? Defensive end quarterbacks getting the same type of money, but I can tell you this much, he deserves every dollar.
Same average annual value as Matt Stafford. So you tell no lies, B-Mac. JJ, I want to get back to something you said here. 2017 class kind of coming up for their payday a little bit early, a trend we're seeing. Another trend is big-time guaranteed money. In this case, it's $102 million guaranteed to Joey Bosa, 78 coming, putting pen to paper, guaranteed at signing. Big time money and big time commitments from these teams like we haven't seen in the past. What's going on in these negotiations, JJ, that's leading these players to get unbelievable guaranteed money?
Yeah, we'll certainly have to see what the structure of this deal is. The same with the Myles Garrett deal. I would be highly suspicious that he is going to get that $78 million in one lump sum immediately, but essentially it is probably and more than likely an essential guarantee that, yeah, okay, he's going to get some of it now, and they're not going to cut him next year because of the dead cap implications, so he is going to see that money. I don't think there's any doubt at all about that. As far as what we're seeing right now, well, the teams aren't as broke as the most recent negotiations they may have wanted you to believe. I mean, all these teams rake in money. They're plenty liquid. They have money to spend, certainly on their top players, and we are seeing that right now. If you are an elite talent, and I know Joey Bosa has been knocking on the door of first or second team All-Pro, hasn't necessarily gotten there just yet. There's plenty of fantastic talent right in front of him. But when you're knocking on the door as a talent like that, they're going to find money for you. It's not an issue whatsoever. So, again, you see it with Myles Garrett. You see it, of course, with Joey Bosa. For whatever reason, the Dallas Cowboys can't figure that out with Dak Prescott. I don't mean to go off on a tangent there, but that's going to just look worse and worse with every passing day that you don't lock up one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. So kudos to the Chargers not fooling around, knowing that he is going to be a part of their team plan well into this decade. Go ahead and lock him up, and that's what Los Angeles has done.
BMAC, we talk about resetting the market, and when these guys get contracts, questioning their hunger. There is no question of hunger in the Bosa household. His kids just love to pop pads. It's what they do. Looking forward to what Joey Bosa brings to this team now with a brand new contract in that AFC West that is run by the reigning Super Bowl champions. How does this project forward for this franchise as they look to put together a winner?
I love their defense, Joe. I think the issue for the Chargers over the last 2-3 years has been injuries before the start of the season. I mean, they've been hit with bad luck with key players getting hurt before the season gets kicked off. And I think they need to be able to dodge that bullet and continue to develop. But I can tell you this much. When you're chasing within your division, money Pat Mahomes, you better have guys that can put pressure on the quarterback. Not just money Pat Mahomes, but what about the track team they have assembled there in Denver with young gun Drew Lock? So quarterbacks can really tear you apart if you cannot put pressure on them, and they play against the best guy in the game twice a year. Week 2, you see it. Week 2, you get Kansas City right there at the crib in L.A. Joey Bosa, Melvin Ingram, Linval Joseph, Derwin James, Chris Harris Jr., Casey Hayward. I mean, they got some outstanding players on that defense. And I know it sounds cliche. I know it is cliche, but defense win championships, or they can at least get you to the championship game, but you need some help from your offense. But that's what they're hanging their hat on right now out there in La La Land, defense. And like I said, he's one of the best to do it when he's healthy. He plays well against the run. He's not a one-trick pony as a defender, but when he gets after that passer, man, he's a dominating force. Man, $78 million guaranteed to sign his name.
Break me off,
I don't even know what what are you feeling right now? I don't even, how do you even, you got $78 million, and we don't know exactly, like Jonathan said, he's gonna get the entire 78, but you know you're getting at least more than half of that to sign your name. Boy, what a feeling.
Guys talk about that feeling on draft day. I imagine it's something like that, maybe exponentially bigger even though. You were talking a little bit here, BMAC, about the next man up in the NFL. Here it's Joey Bosa. New contract, new stadium, maybe a new era in LA, but the beat goes on. It feels like every week we're signing one of these new mega deals. Jonathan, I'll go to you here first. Who's up next? Maybe not even just on the defensive side of the ball, but who's going to drop our jaw next week when we're talking about another one of these deals?
So I have 3 guys in mind right now, and we can go across town and look at Jalen Ramsey, a guy who is absolutely due, a guy who was traded with 2 first-round picks. So just like we know that, the Seahawks are going to have to pay Jamal Adams because of what they gave up for him, just like we saw the Houston Texans had to pay Laramie Tunsil for what they gave up for him, we're going to see the Los Angeles Rams have to pay Jalen Ramsey sooner rather than later. Go out to Baltimore. not the reigning MVP, but Ronnie Stanley. I think that we can see him absolutely get paid. He is right up there, right in line. And then, of course, how can I talk about guys getting paid and not talk about quarterbacks? Deshaun Watson sitting right there behind Patrick Mahomes in that 2017 NFL draft. He's due. Is he going to get paid? Not entirely sure it's going to happen anytime soon, but those three guys, if we're talking about guys who can absolutely break the bank, if we're talking about guys who, listen, at quarterback, nobody's going to top Patrick Mahomes, but guys who are going to have some eye-popping numbers, those are the three I'd be looking for.
And I like to throw out another defender. I don't know if he will get paid next week, but I think he should be coming up extremely soon, getting a nice, handsome ransom. What about T.J. Watt with the Pittsburgh Steelers? I think he had 14.5 sacks a year ago. I mean, he's been a force. He's been probably one of the best players on that team over the last 2 years. He does well against the run as well. One issue he might have, similar to what we're seeing with some of these other outside linebacker, edge rushing types, they're arguing about being a defensive lineman. He's an outside linebacker in the 3-4 scheme. He rushes a lot, but they occasionally drop back in coverage as well in that 3-4 scheme as an outside linebacker. But all he does is put up major numbers. So look out for that name as well, potentially getting that nice big time check in the coming near future.
Checks are being cut in the NFL in about 3 years. Another Bosa going to be up for a massive payday. So pays to be a Bosa parent, I guess. Jonathan Jones, Bryant McFadden, we appreciate you guys.
No question.
All right, let's take another look here. Defensive players with the most guaranteed money. It's a two-comma club with two guys in it. Myles Garrett, $100 million guaranteed. That deal coming down just a couple weeks ago. And Joey Bosa, now the highest guaranteed money on the defensive side of the ball in the history of the league with $102 million in guarantees, a 5-year, $135 million deal in total.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.